Welcome to Raiders Roundtable, brought to you by America First Credit Union. I'm JT. That's the legendary corner. Eric Allen and the Raiders are 2-2. It was a must-win game. We said it all week. No matter how they won that game, they needed a W, and the Raiders got it at home.
So important. And I thought going into the game, didn't know what the thing was going to be, obviously, but coming out of the game, you knew speed was definitely a factor for this football team. Did an outstanding job, right, on speed on offense, but defensively, kind of shaky early on, right? You're thinking to yourself, man, are we going to go down this road again? Deshaun Watson looked pretty good on that first drive, did an amazing job finding receivers. I believe he was 8 for 8 on that drive. But after that, we took care of business. But that first drive, man, pressure really didn't get there. He was able to escape out the pocket. So that shows you outside edge-wise, you got to make sure you contain a mobile quarterback. Really wasn't able to do that. I thought their first 15 plays from the first 3 weeks were all pretty good for the Cleveland Browns. So as a defense, you're trying to find a way to combat that. Get a stop, find a way to make a play. We got a penalty on that situation there. So all those things kind of worked against us, JT, on this first drive. Some missed tackles popped up. So all those bad things that were happening to us the first 3 weeks of the season kind of popped up on this one drive, and they were able to kind of chip and chip and chip. No big plays, but just more of the quarterback outside the pocket, making play after play. And then that last touchdown there, as you saw, was just bad eyes for our defense. Things that me and you have talked about all season long defensively, what we were doing wrong. But
They won.
We came to play after that drive.
That's the first of your three big things. And Deshaun Watson going 8 for 8 came out, and he put the Cleveland fans into the game,
he did,
which we didn't want to see, and he was flawless. So I'm looking at him like you are, saying this guy is on pace to have a big game. But the Raiders made tremendous adjustments. And now for the second big thing, we're going to go to the running game for the Raiders, which I thought was really important to at least get something going. Through 3 games, the Raiders were dead last in rushing. The pressure was on the offensive line, the coaching staff, Luke Getsy, Madison, and Zamir White to get it going. What did you see with the running game?
Well, we all know, I think, as Raider fans, that this is a process offensively. It's kind of work in process. And this running game we thought was going to be this zone scheme where we have, Zamir being able to run behind, a zone scheme. But Alexander Madison fits better in the zone schemes because he processes the information a little differently than Zeus does. So he's been having those opportunities. And see here, this is downhill running for Zeus. This is where we need Zeus. Downhill running, hitting it. Alexander Madison, more edge guy, more explosive, more speed. And we love that aspect about him, to being able to bounce through the hole. Look at the quickness here. So much Alexander Madison provides for our football team with the explosiveness, the speed, the quick punch, decisive decision-making, much better in those situations when we're having a running back run behind a zone scheme. Now, when we're going downhill, we put Zeus in. So that combination of backs is going to really help this football team. And, of course, I think when you're talking about the running game getting going, the defense playing well, then we're able to use the passing game to kind of help everything out. But once the running game got going, this football team was really dictating to the Cleveland Browns. Very good defense.
Jackson Powers-Johnson, Colton Miller, the rest of this offensive line needed to go hunt. They needed to find someone, put their hands on somebody, and block downfield. It was very refreshing to see both running backs get to the next level. Now, they were stopped behind the line of scrimmage a few times, and you question, why are they running that play? But I think with the struggles with the short passing game, at least the Raiders come out of the Browns' victory saying if they need a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 3, and they don't want to pass it, at least they found something against Cleveland that led to a victory.
You're right about that. And it's really about the coaching staff making sure that they can look at the play diagram, look at the playbook, and say, okay, hey, this worked in the first half. How do we come off of this play, whether it's a run or a quick pass, Gardner out the pocket? How can we work something off of this to really fool the defense? And sometimes you just need to run the football effectively in those medium to short situations on 3rd down to kind of open everything everything else up. And that's kind of what we weren't doing earlier in the season. We weren't running the football effectively, so that really gives the defense an opportunity to pin their ears back, get after the passing game. But once you have this balance and you have the speed and you're going lateral at times with the reverses and the handoffs going laterally and having good success with that, 2 touchdowns by the receivers. Brock Bowers had a reverse and he had 10 yards. So we had explosive plays off those lateral moving plays. Then we have them downhill. So now the playbook is open. Yeah. And it's just not focused on Devontae Adams. You have DJ, you have Trey, you have so many guys involved in the plays that were able to have some good productive plays later on in the football game.
I want to get into special teams, and that was very important overall. McAllister is a stable, he led the CFL in that, and I thought A.J. Cole had a monster game. So real quick story. I don't talk to the players before the game, but AJ was right there on the sidelines, and he said, "Do you got a Coffin's Corner for me?" And he looked at me.
Because you call for it all the time.
I do, and he kind of smiled about it. Carlson had a big game, and AJ can take over a game. If the Raiders aren't playing well, if they have to punt, if they're struggling on third down conversion, he can bail you out. I thought he had a very big game. He was the difference.
He is, and you could tell the coaching staff really relies on our special teams, particularly AJ, playing that field position. He flexed on him a couple times, JT, on this one here. McAllister has been a really stud, made the team with his returns in the preseason. He not only makes plays as a kick returner, punt returner, but he also carried the ball yesterday from the running back position. But AJ, this is just unbelievable when your coach can rely on you as far as the punter, saying, hey, we're struggling here offensively. We're going to back you up, allow our defense to get after you, and we're going to start with A.J. Cole, coffin kick, just like JT ordered, being able to put the team in on kind of backed up on their heels a little bit, allow the defense to kind of play with the little swagger. We didn't have Max yesterday, but I thought defense complemented that offense and that the punt return for some good yards.
Yeah, the key to this team is they have to be really good at everything.
Yeah,
they're improving. We're trying to find some positives here on what's happening, and special teams is a strength. When you and I were in Costa Mesa and we were watching practice every day, and we didn't know what was going to go on with this new kickoff rule. But we knew that A.J. Cole, we knew that Carlson could kick. They had to find someone who could be reliable on punt and kickoff returns. I think that's a really stable part of this program and this team now. You don't got to worry about special teams going into the game. The passing game is troublesome now because on 3rd and short, are you going to run it or are you going to pass it? I think this is a critical week going forward, getting ready for Denver, for them to figure out what they're going to do to stay on the field. 3rd down conversion is not a strength for this team in the passing game, but now I think they can fix it. I think they understand what Brock Bowers can do. They understand what some of these other players like Trey can do. And then getting DJ Turner in the game was big because he could get the ball behind the line of scrimmage and score.
You're talking about complementary football. And I think when we talked yesterday at the Torch, we talked about coaching and complementing your offense with a running game, with some different players making plays, guys you don't necessarily think are going to be pivotal players offensively. So you have your speed going laterally. You have your running game bouncing off. So now the offensive coordinator feels a little more at ease, making sure that he can get those critical first down, because it's all about first down. First down, if you're able to get 7, 8 yards with the pass, on first down, then second down, you have so much to play with. So when you're in a situation where your punter is doing great, so you can take some chances, take some shots, and we missed some. There were some opportunities there to take some shots with speed. So when everything is rolling like this, you're able to finally get to a place where, hey, you know what? It's first down. We had a great run last series. Now we're going to throw the football. We're going to try and take a shot, and if we don't do that, we still have that security blanket in Brock Bowers being able to maybe dominate on 3rd down. So I think it's coming together now. It's all a work in progress, obviously, but it's coming together, and I think we're playing complementary football on both sides of the ball with the special teams. I think we're going to be okay going into Denver.
Rich Gannon's going to join us next.
Yes.
And we saw him at the Torch. He had a big crowd. He had a lot to say, and we're going to get the recap from the former MVP when we continue on Raiders Roundtable. Raiders Roundtable is brought to you by America First Credit Union, the official credit union of the Las Vegas Raiders.
You're doing it.
You got this.
Yes, this is great.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. Find yours with Ford F-150. Gas, hybrid, or all-electric. Whether it's towing, powering up, or getting from 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds, what you choose to do with that much power is up to you. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Get 3.9% APR financing for 60 months plus $3,000 cash back when you trade on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Southern Nevada Ford dealers.
Hey Raider Nation, when you come to see the Raiders take the field at Allegiant Stadium, you should do it from the best seats in the house. So grab an ice cold Coors Light, and you can enter to win tickets for these Coors Light silver seats at Allegiant Stadium. With plush seating, state-of-the-art beverage coolers, and wireless phone chargers, there's no better place to watch your Raiders bring home the win. Celebrate responsibly.
It's in our very nature to find exhilaration in the new, to seek the excitement of the unexpected, an endless yearning to experience what lies beyond the everyday.
Dude, you're looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro.
Guys, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day,
Gonna be a day when I'll be the one
you dream.
It's gonna
It's gonna be Ray.
Dude, are you crying?
Celebrate 65 seasons of Raiders football. Be a part of our legacy with a special edition brick featuring the exclusive 65-year anniversary logo. Get your brick installed at Allegiant Stadium, along with a replica for your home or office. Order now and support the Raiders Foundation, benefiting military and veterans, wellness initiatives, and youth development. Secure your place in Raiders history today at RaidersFoundationBricks.com. Welcome back to Raiders Roundtable. Every week we bring in former MVP Rich Gannon, who joins us. And Rich, it was great to see you at the Torch yesterday, and you nailed it. You said to everybody a couple of the role players, a couple of the backups would have to come in and have big games, and they did.
You know, I said also, JT, I thought it was one of those games where, you know, it was more about talent, and it was going to be more about effort and energy and finish, and doing little things that don't require a ton of talent, like flying around to the football and just, I just think playing to a certain style. And without two of their best players on the field yesterday, I saw that from the Raiders. I thought that was an impressive win. I mean, their second double-digit comeback win of the season. I thought they showed some real resiliency, real fight. The other thing that was really apparent that you don't always get when you're not in the stadium, the emotion from the players on the sidelines. After a big play, after a sack, after a score, half the team running onto the field or down the sidelines, chasing players. And I just thought that was awesome. That sack at the end of the game on 4th and 3 from the 9-yard line, the Raiders sideline erupted with emotion. And that's how important that moment, that game was for them. And to me, that says something about that football team.
Yeah, Rich, I think you're right about that. The coaches deserve a lot of credit. I thought the theme yesterday was speed, right? Without Devontae, that, guy's going to be a winner-go jacket pretty soon. I thought they really utilized the speed of this football team to kind of get this team going, right?
I couldn't agree more, EA. And I think when you're struggling running the football, I think Luke Getsy did some good things. I mean, Trey Tucker, DJ Turner, those 2 rushing touchdowns, those end arounds, some trickery and just different ways to get some speed onto the perimeter. They called a couple shot plays down the field, and that's the one constructive criticism I'd have for Gardner Minshew. He missed a couple big throws yesterday that could have been gut jabs for the Cleveland Browns. And that's, you realize you don't get a lot of those opportunities in a game. When you have them open, you have to hit them. But I thought they did some great things rushing the football. We've been talking about that all season. 152 rushing yards. What continues to be a concern for me through the first month of the season have been the slow starts on offense. I mean, it's just like in the first quarter, we're just dragging our feet in the mud, and we just have a difficult time getting off to good starts. It seems like we have to constantly come from behind, and that's not a good thing. We've got to figure out a way to get off to good starts early in games.
Rich, I don't have a problem going with the hot hand. It happens in baseball where you pull a pitcher in the fourth inning. If he doesn't have it, you got two running backs here. Zamir White, if he doesn't get off to a good start, and Madison is proving that he has fresher legs, what do you think about this going forward? Because there are two distinct rushing styles here, and it's too important for the Raiders to wait for one guy to get going when the other guy's hot.
I think Madison has the hot hand right now, and if it were me, I'd make sure he's on the field a little bit more. I mean, it was disappointing when Zamir put that ball on the ground and came in a critical situation. And, of course, it got the Browns back in the game, but not just from that standpoint. I love the way Alexander Madison's running right now. He's running hot. I think he's running with a purpose. I think he's one of those old-school backs, JT, that the more opportunities and touches and carries he gets, the better he gets. And I think he's the type of back that can wear down a defense. I saw him do it in Minnesota and other places. And I just think that, he's got the hot hand right now. I think he's seeing it better, when you look at how they're blocking it up front. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him get some more touches the next couple of weeks.
Rich, it was great seeing that offense run the ball and being effective like that, but we had issues coming into this season about defensively stopping a run, and for the first time, they really did a good job, particularly after that first drive, of stopping a run and keeping Cleveland under 100 yards for the first time this year as a defense. What do you think about that?
I was so impressed by what I saw from the defense yesterday. I thought they just played with great effort and intensity throughout the course of the game, particularly in the second half. Again, they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but really settled in. Now look at those final 7 drives for the Cleveland Browns. 5 punts, guys, an interception, and they handed over on downs. I mean, just what an amazing finish for that Raider defense. And I look at what they did yesterday. You look at the numbers. Season low in points allowed, season low in rushing yards allowed, season low in total yards allowed, and a season high at 3 sacks. So when you do that without your best player on the field, I think that you're making progress. And I can't say enough good things about the job that Patrick Graham has done, really going back to last season when AP took over and how they, the scoring was down, the mistakes, the penalties were down, yards per game were down, and I think we're seeing a continuation of that this year. I just think he's one of the better defensive coordinators in the business, and he probably doesn't get enough of credit for the job he has done with this Raider group.
Rich, Deshaun Watson came out, and he was great on that opening drive, and they went the length of the field, and he couldn't miss. I'm sitting there with EA going, what's going on here? Are we going to make this guy look like a Hall of Famer? But the adjustments were critical. You've been in the locker room for halftime adjustments, especially obviously on the offensive side. When that goes down at halftime, what is that like when you have to listen, you have to turn the script? I thought the Raider defense did a tremendous job with their halftime adjustments.
Yeah, we talked about the final 7 drives of the game. I mean, the Raiders dominated. And I think a couple things really, keeping Deshaun Watson contained. I think where he really hurt the Raiders yesterday was when he got outside the pocket. I think he realizes the protection is not going to be great. He does a good job trying to draw the rush and then finding a crease. We saw him run for a couple first downs yesterday. I thought in the second half they did a much better job with the controlled rush lanes, guys being disciplined with their gap assignments, guys being disciplined with their eyes and hands, and really forcing him to kind of step up and function as a pocket passer. That's always the key with a quarterback like Deshaun Watson. Force him to sit in there and make the accurate throws down the field. That's always been a challenge for him. But I just was really, to me, being there yesterday, guys, I don't know if you know this, but I was with you guys before the game. I sat in the alumni box for part of the game, and then I went out in the stands. They had a security guy there with me. My daughter and my son-in-law were there. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go sit out in the stands. So I sat out there with some great Raider fans. It was awesome. A little distracted. People want to get pictures and autographs, but I'm watching the game. I watched it from the end zone, and it was awesome. Yeah. And just to feel the energy in the stadium. But as I said to you earlier, what really stood out to me, and you don't see this when I watch the games live, is you don't see the sideline eruption. You don't see the the emotion from the coaches and the players. And to me, that's really what stood out yesterday. I just thought that was an important win for the Raiders. Now the challenge is this. We're 2-2. We've got ourselves to 500. Everybody's in the mix with the exception of the winless teams. But what are the Raiders going to do with this now? Are we going to take a step forward and a step back? Are we going to go on the road and beat the Ravens and come home and lose to Carolina? I mean, this can be a real building block. And I think that it's going to be important that the leaders on this team, the veterans, really share that message with the young players that, hey, this is a week-to-week business. I mean, just look what happened to the Buffalo Bills last night.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat Jacksonville by 37. They lose to the Ravens by 25. And that happened in the course of 1 week. I mean, look at the Jets. The Jets go to Tennessee, then they lose to a rookie quarterback at home in the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. So it's a week-to-week business. I'm hopeful that this team has figured that out and that they come back next week and have their best stuff.
Yeah, I believe so too. That's a big point, Rich. It's about coaching. It's about consistency. You love the fact that defensively, the defensive line, Adams and the rest of the gang, Snowden and those guys really stepped up and really performed when they needed to, particularly at the end of the football game. This coaching staff deserves a lot of credit, getting these guys ready to play without Max Crosby, and at the end of the game, making that kind of Max Crosby play, right? The strip sack to end the game. And that's kind of what we need. And that's what we're talking about, leadership. I think Spillane takes a big part of that because he had to be the vocal leader. Of course, he's a middle linebacker. Again, he's double-digit tackles for, I think, the 4th week in a row. He's up in the stands tackling guys. He's awesome. But it goes to what you're saying. This is an amazing opportunity for this team to, one, have a great win and then not do like they did against Baltimore, have another bounce back with another big win against Denver, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I also agree with what you said, EA, about the line play. I think that's really important. I think when you look at when the Raiders have played really well in stretches, they've gotten good line play on both sides of the ball. The defensive line, getting to the passers, stopping the run. I thought yesterday doing a good job opening up some holes in the running game, 152 rushing yards. That's a season high. That's something to build on. Giving Gardner Minshew some opportunities to set his feet, push the ball down the field a little bit. So to me, when the line play is good, I think when you look at the Raiders on the perimeter, you look like tight end position when we're healthy, the wide receiver position. I think we've got 2 running backs that are more than capable. I think when you look at our secondary, you mentioned the linebacker play with Spillane and those guys. I think we're good, but it really starts up front with the line play. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one other thing. You talk about players making big plays. How about A.J. Cole yesterday, guys? We have 2 of the best kickers in the league.
That's right.
He's got 4 punts yesterday, 2 inside the 20. He averaged 58 yards per punt. I think his net was incredible. Yeah. I mean, special teams were a big part of that win yesterday, and it's nice to know in your back pocket. You remember when we had Shane Leckler and Sebastian Janikowski when they really settled in, that was a real weapon. A.J. Cole dramatically changed field position yesterday for the Raiders.
All right, Rich, this is the elephant in the room. It's 3rd down and short passes. I cannot believe the struggle at the quarterback position on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, when they're not going to run it, and I'm happy they're not running it because they've been struggling with it until this last game. What would you do moving the quarterback, making it easier for Gardner Minshew? I think he's better outside the pocket. I think some sprint rights and some throwbacks to Bowers when Devontae comes back. I'm just talking 3 to 6 yards, these little pitch and catch plays, and the Raiders really struggle with that on 3rd down, and it's a problem, and it's not cleaned up yet.
Yeah, the 3rd down has to be better. I think certainly the plan has to be adjusted. I think you have to look at what we're doing well. I think you have to figure out ways to get the quarterback in a position. I think his feet at times have been compromised, and I think part of that is just coaching and fundamentals and getting back to repping things over and over again. I think when he sets his feet, he can be very accurate. I think when his feet are a little jittery and he's moving around, he doesn't quite trust the protection, that's where he misses throws. He missed a big throw down the field yesterday. I can't remember. One was to Turner and one was to Tucker. Opportunities for big plays, and he just overthrew both of them. And I think a lot of it has to do with his feet. But the other thing I would say is, when you look at the plan, like that last drive of the game, the last offensive drive of the game, I almost got sick as I was sitting there in the stands. It was awful. I mean, the first play, the toss play, we lose like 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah.
We give the ball back to the Browns with a couple, 3 timeouts left and some pretty good field position. They drive down the field. That could have ended the wrong way yesterday. And I think what's disappointing for me from an offensive standpoint, you can't give the Browns that opportunity. You have to be able to finish the game on offense. We talk about the importance of closing a team out. All they had to do was make a couple first downs. They weren't able to do that. And to go 3 and out in that situation was not a good moment for that Raider offense.
Rich, at the end of the game yesterday, I thought that offensively, the theme was speed. Defensively, I thought it was just relentless effort and attitude. Have we carved out an identity, you think?
I'm hoping so, EA. I just think for the Raiders, it's all about consistency. Like consistency every day you walk in the building. Consistency in terms of what we do in the weight room, what we do in the practice field, what kind of copious notes we take in the meeting room. How much studying are we doing at night? And are we coming back and are we bringing it each and every day? Forget about Sundays just for a second. Let's make sure we're doing the little things it takes during the week to be successful. But I just think when you look at your body of work on game days, it's got to be all about effort and finish. And I just think for the Raiders, I want to see the consistency. I can't see them go on the road and beat up on the Ravens, which is a really good football team, and then come back the next week and not play well at home in the home opener against the Carolina Panthers. So to me, I just want to see them start stacking together consistent performances day in and day out, week in and week out. That's what Raider fans are craving. I'm just telling you. I sat in those stands yesterday. It was awesome. I can't remember the last time I sat in the stands at a Raider game, and it bothers me. I'm sitting there in the end zone. I've got all these Raider fans around me. To my left, I got a bunch of Browns fans. I'm like, what are you doing here? So that'll change. And you know what'll make it change? Not just the winning, but the consistent winning, and that's what Raider fans are craving.
Well, Rich, thank you so much. I'm going to talk to Mark Davis with EA. Send that private jet to get you.
That's right.
Every home game. And get that
hey, man, I'm just telling you.
Right
I'm going to put my suit and tie on every time the Raiders win, man. I can't wait. I'm going to wear this thing out before it's all over.
There you go. You're looking good. You're looking good.
Have a good week. The great Rich Gannon joining us. Always good to have him. Yeah. When we come back, Charles Snowden, what he said in the locker room after the victory when we return on Raiders Roundtable.
In 300 feet, turn left.
With Cox's fiber-powered internet, you can do brilliant things.
Exit approaching.
Like upload your voice to Dad's GPS in no time flat.
And I miss you, Daddy. Happy birthday.
Get multi-gig download speeds powered by fiber. Upgrade your internet today with Cox, the nation's fastest internet provider. Limited availability in select areas.
Hey Raider Nation, when you come to see the Raiders take the field at Allegiant Stadium, you should do it from the best seats in the house. So grab an ice cold Coors Light, and you can enter to win tickets for these Coors Light silver seats at Allegiant Stadium. With plush seating, state-of-the-art beverage coolers, and wireless phone chargers, there's no better place to watch your Raiders bring home the win. Celebrate responsibly.
How are you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. Find yours with Ford F-150. Gas, hybrid, or all electric. Whether it's towing, powering up, or getting from 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. What you choose to do with that much power is up to you. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Get 3.9% APR financing for 60 months plus $3,000 cash back when you trade on a 2024 F-150. Only at your Southern Nevada Ford dealers.
Dude, you were looking ice cold.
You look ice cold, bro. Guys, somebody's coming. Somebody's coming.
Let's do it.
There comes a day
When I'll be the one
you dream.
it's gonna.
It's gonna be Ray.
Dude, are you crying?
Raiders Roundtable is brought to you by Coors Light. Choose chill, an official beer of Raider Nation. Celebrate responsibly. 2024, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. America First Credit Union, the official credit union of the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, welcome back to Raiders Roundtable. Look at all this programming. Is Eric Allen on enough TV shows? Look at all this. We got the Roundtable, the Silver and Black show that you see on Thursday. Wednesday, the Rundown. I'm excited with that, with the great Lincoln Kennedy, Levi Edwards, and then Game Day immediately following the Raider performance here. So there's a lot happening here.
Yeah, you and I are battling.
We got a lot of programming. Go to Raiders.com, the YouTube page. Now, I want to get into the defense here. The defense was spectacular when they needed to be, and one of the stars was Charles Snowden.
And you know, I came in kind of late though, but how did it feel to get that play that kind of it's ended the game, sealed the victory for the Raiders?
Yeah, I mean, it meant a lot. I mean, I can't even put into words what it meant to me. Just all the emotions I was feeling. Just one of the biggest things I was really feeling was just like the gratitude to my coaches, just the game on the line, to have me in there and make that call, trust me to go out there and make a play. You know, the entire team counting on me, and so to be able to reward them. That really meant a lot to me, and I'm just so grateful and just hope to continue to build off of it.
What a game he had.
That's
he
a
really
moment.
did. That last drive by Deshaun Watson, he needed to make a play, knock the ball down at the line of scrimmage, and then the pursuit on the final play of the game. Big game.
That's a moment, JT, and you know, hopefully that will give him opportunity to really feel like, hey, man, I'm useful. I'm a part of this football team. It always takes a play or two in a young guy's career to really kind of propel him into bigger and better things. Now we know that Max Crosby is going to be back, and if we can have someone that can take that spot from Malcolm Kuntz where he was rising, it's going to be great for this football team.
It was next man up at its best. We talked about that all week on all the platforms. Now, Jackson Powers-Johnson, we wanted to see him play, and I want to hear what he said after the game.
What exactly did he say that you did specifically to give you him the confidence that you're ready to have your first start?
I think bringing the energy, you know, just being me and being able to have enthusiasm and play how I'm supposed to play. You know, I've been playing a lot of catch up, and now that, you know, I'm to the shape that I want to be and playing like I want to be, I can start being myself now and being the reason and play like the reason why this great organization drafted me.
What's great about him is I think about him sitting out on the sidelines when we were in Costa Mesa. And he was just trying to get healthy, and we knew he would do this. And the energy, right after the game, he ran to the black hole, which is smart. If you're a rookie on this team, run to the black hole, get them on your side. He's giving everyone a high five. Then he comes through the tunnel, and he gets his face in the camera there. He loves being a Raider, and he had a big game.
Loves playing football. And you saw that in some of the highlights when receivers were catching first downs, 15 yards downfield. He's there celebrating with them. He brings that certain attitude that I'm pretty sure our friend Lincoln Kennedy really loves. He's on the side with another rookie and DJ, and those two guys I thought brought some energy that I hadn't seen in a long time. And he got his first start, and you know, on the opposite side, on the same side as a rookie, and we ran for 150 yards. I think a lot of that all kind of ties in to the fact, and plus, when you have a young player, he needs to have a couple practices with some grown men, and I thought Adam Butler had a great practice Wednesday and Thursday, and he also, on the other side of the ball, had a great game. And I thought those two really sharpened each other, and you need that in practice if you're going to be great. And I think Jackson wants to be great, and Adam had a great game.
We knew that when Devontae couldn't go, DJ Turner would have an opportunity to play, and he made some big plays.
A lot of different guys involved in the run game. How did that kind of open things up for you guys today?
It was big for everybody, especially we spread the defense out with a lot of jet sweeps and a lot of movement. It opened up some holes for everybody, you know what I mean? So it was big to kind of get that run game going, and pass game came as well. So.
The jet sweep's a big part of this team now, because we think of Brock first, but then you see two other guys who can do it, especially DJ.
Yeah, DJ is great at this, can control the ball when he's going laterally and understands kind of the concept. And it's all about speed. And I thought that was the one thing that popped off yesterday, JT, was our football team, we utilized speed yesterday. Going back to the Cliff Branch days, right? This team is always, when it's good, it's always had a way of utilizing speed to its benefit. And getting the defense going laterally helped us eventually run downhill, what we want to do. So we're able to, and hats off to Luke, Getsky, being able to find ways to get these explosive players getting in the game and making explosive plays, helping eventually our running game get going.
Let's move on to Alexander Madison, who had to have a big game. It's going to be the hot hand going forward, and he was hot.
What would you attribute the breakout rushing performance to specifically?
O-line up front. They did an amazing job. And just, us staying on our track, hitting it, yards after contact was something that we emphasize. Me and Z and anyone that touched the ball, we want to make sure that we did that. So, getting behind those big guys up front and toting, it was a good day.
Well, the way you guys have receivers involved in the run game, too, how did they help kind of spread them out and open some holes up for you?
It keeps the defense on their toes. It keeps them thinking. They don't know who's getting the ball. They don't know where the ball is going. So for us to be able to keep them operating and thinking like that, it's big.
That's awesome that he would have a big game there. So we know we got two running backs. And finally, Trayvon Merrick got a big pick here at the end of the game. No Marcus Epps. Right. They're best friends. They spend all their time together, so it's got to be hard on him. He was able to celebrate in the locker room.
What did it feel like at the end when you knew you guys had to make a play defensively to get the dub?
Man, we love that feeling. We love when everybody relies on the defense to make a play, make a stop. That's just big time energy. It's contagious, and it brings our confidence, for the next game. So
2-2 after the first quarter. How huge was that to get a big win today?
Huge, man. 500. We just got to keep going. We can't let it stop here. Just got to go to work next week and get back to it.
And I want to give a shout out to Isaiah Palomal,
who
also played. Another guy who stepped up when they needed to step up. Fantastic. So let's look around the AFC West. A lot happened. Most important thing is the Raiders were able to win the game because they couldn't afford to go to 1-3. So the Chiefs, Rashee Rice looks like he might have torn his ACL. That's tough on them. They just find ways to win.
They have. It's been ugly, right? And it's been one-score games, basically, the 4 games that they won. A couple of them were shoestrings and, almost losing the game on penalties and things like that. So the Chiefs are, 4-0, but they're not a strong 4-0.
Absolutely. The Chargers get a bye week at the right time because Alt is injured and Justin Herbert has a foot issue there. So the Chargers at 2-2. I think they're happy to be 2-2. They could have been 3-1. They played a tough schedule there. They go into the bye. We see what the Raiders have done. But let me get to the Broncos. I went back and watched that game, and on radio last night, most of my show was on Aaron Rodgers and the fact that he lost to Bo Nix. And Bo Nix threw for 60 yards. They won back-to-back road games against Baker Mayfield and Aaron Rodgers. They could have been 0-4. The schedule had the Broncos 0-4.
Right.
They're 2-2, and that leads us into this game coming up on Sunday. The Raiders have won 8 in a row against Denver. Sean Payton and that staff wants it bad. I think that's going to be a really tough test.
That's some dominance that we haven't seen between these two teams in a long time, JT. So obviously they're going to have some momentum going to the game. They're going to be confident in what they've been doing and how they've been able to get it done. But quarterback play has not been good in Denver, and that's the one thing we expected with the coaching staff and drafting this young kid out of Oregon, Bo Nix, and he's played a lot of football, but really hasn't had a game in the pros yet that you can say to yourself, man, he's the guy of the future. So if we continue to put that pressure on the quarterback spot, maybe an ugly game, but it's a way, we kind of find a way to win this football game against those Denver Broncos.
You make a great point. That's a young quarterback with no experience in this rivalry.
Yes.
And he wants to turn turn the rivalry around. So we'll see what happens. The Raider defense is going to have a great game. That's Eric Allen. I'm JT. Thanks for joining us this week on Raiders Roundtable. The Raiders get a win. They get to 2-2. It's a victory Monday around here.
That's right.
Which is fantastic for the franchise. Hopefully they keep the momentum going on the road to Denver. Thanks for joining us as always.